Shem y'all shot around the dog. Kwam y'all shala. Kwam y'all shala. What's up? Act 17 fam. Only the evil down my people. We ain't evil. May the Lord slay the evil. Hey. Jacob, my people, we got eat them, trying to bleed them. May the Lord take his wings away. The blind see another day. So don't be foolish to the movement, cause it's proven we the truest in the I.S.U.P.K. And if I fall, my eyes sweat, my heart's my conscience, my arms inside this. I'm like Paul, they plotting when I talk of prophets, Acts 17:5. If I recall the violence, yeah, they all gon' die quick and we all gon' watch it. Yeah. So I'm calm as I said, no, they can't stop it.
See, I was trying to find my way, the devil's all up in my way. The devil real, can't you feel it breathing? Killing niggas for no reason, guess it's killing season. Satan always sitting, trying to end in my sins. Something gotta give for all the good that I put in. I was growing up with monsters, so I had no other options. I was glad I'm not up in the pen, instead of writing with a pen. So it's simple, understand. Let the weak say I'm strong, with the meek where they belong. Let the sick say I'm away. And if they go, then I'm away till every Jew make it safe. Every Jew ain't gonna be saved. On that faithful dreadful day, hope I get to see the day when every devil pass away. Put our minds together under one umbrella. We done lost 12 tribes, let us find each other.
Only the evil down my people, we ain't equal. May the Lord slay the eagle. Hey, Jacob, my people, we got eat them, trying to bleed them. May the Lord take his wings away. A little wine ease my mind, may Yahweh help the blind see another day. So don't prove we the truest in the I.S.U.P.K. And if I fall, my eyes sweat, my heart's my conscience, my arms inside this. I'm like Paul, they plotting when I talk of prophets, Acts 17:5. If I recall the violence, yeah, they all gon' die quick and we all gon' watch it. So I'm calm as I said, no, they can't stop it, Acts 17:5. Only the evil down my people, we ain't equal. May the Lord slay the eagle. Hey, Jacob, my people, we got eat them, trying to bleed them. May the Lord take his wing away. A little wine ease my mind, may Yahweh help the blind see another day. So don't be foolish to the movement, cause it's proven we the truest in the I.S.U.P.K. And if I fall, my eyes sweat, my heart's my conscience, my arms inside this. I'm like Paul, they plotting when I talk of prophets, Acts 17:5. If I recall the violence, yeah, they all gon' die quick and we all gon' watch it. As I said, no, they can't stop it, Acts 17:5.
education. Certified priest, prophesying is my occupation. This shit outrageous, they done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. I.S.U.P.K style, and stop now. This warfare could last one round. Let the oppressed rise, let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with this shit, about to make it hot, call it compound. This for my niggas, put the guns in the drugs down. Dwelling in peace to the Lord, call for the blood. Hey, try to decide my death, and y'all beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform, how you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his dreams. I ain't got no love for the crackers, no, just cruel intentions. And near my father's house is painted mansions. I got painted bitches for the Avengers. This your slaughter. The angel not run. Go in and feel the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin, you gon' die for your crime. That's why talking to you. So run for your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that be in this news. Back to school, my flow standing hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. It's the honey jet, righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow and hand down death for the devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in the bench, I see horns in a pitchfork. Go ahead, so please believe it. Your white man is a demon, and I ain't gon' go with him to free me. No, that man is still weak. They call him purple, the spiders knife till they broke like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. We screaming, let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. I'm laying in the bosom of revenge. I told her I'd do anything she please as I squeeze on the double D's. What you mean? I'm talking to you. Slaughter. Feel the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin, you gon' die for your crime. That's why talking to you. So run for your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that get in this shit. Slaughter. The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on him. I can't really do shit because they got me handcuffed. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking... Slaughter. The angel not run. Go in and feel the world with lies. Ain't die for your skin, you gon' die for your crime. That's why talking to you. So run for your life. Try to you gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that get in this shit. Slaughter. West till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get a dividend till we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nobody a domino. So what you fucking trying to do? Rhyming comical. This is funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to the pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars. I coach them up like a Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid. Shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance. One West rising the prominent. Cause I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got group five for Uber. Rhymes hard like they've been viewed by Medusa. 9 million Lugas, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your Medulas. Obrigada for the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Impalas like the semi-holler. A showstopper, then the stopper since the TV bopper. But now I'm doing my patrolling pre-lockers. I put extensions on the clock, modify the choppers. The smooth heavy wheel ready and that's worth the mama. No marijuana say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when they eat some, none of them can get to the fire but right with me. And I had a nigga feel like a tire, had a deep, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Food igniter, lieutenant coming through with the silence. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me. I be one West to the death till they bury me. I'm one West till they bury me.
Shalom. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Come on, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, you understand, or the Lord's chosen people, and the only people that this book right here was meant for, the only people the Lord gives a damn about, you understand, and of course our oppressor, the same man that has been absolutely destroying our nation for over 400 years and oppressing us and never letting up and shoving us into these reservations. You know what I'm saying? That same man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and give you a second to share the class. Tag every native that you know into the class. You got any questions, go ahead and ask them. So you already know we're going to be starting out in the Deuteronomy, chapter 28. It's lucky. And we're going to start at verse 15. We be hitting these curses so hard, in this book right here, because it's one of the biggest things that show us who it is that the 12 tribes of Israel are today. So there's only one nation of people that fall under these curses upon the face of this earth. And there ain't no other nation out here that has suffered it like we have, that, even suffer today like we do. It's lucky.
It's like one more second. All right, let's get it. Book of Deuteronomy. It's like chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken. It's like, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. You understand? So Moses was letting us know, even back then, you understand, when we came up out of Egypt, you know, saying he's letting us know that a time will come that we will choose not to follow what it is the Lord told us to do as a people, saying as his chosen people. I'm saying time will come where we will sit there and we'll simply throw, his commandments to the side, his statutes that he gave to us as a people. We'll just simply disregard them and do as we please, like we have. We've been coming against the Lord ever since they brought us up out of ever since he brought us up out of Egypt. So even after he destroyed what was known as the mightiest empire and supposed to be the greatest empire out there, and he destroyed them like in these heathens' ways. Instead, we wanted to go out and follow a different nation because we viewed them as being something greater than they actually are. Saying which all of these other nations upon the face of this earth, outside of the nation of Israel, understand, blacks, his Indians, these other nations are absolutely disgusting. You understand? Even to the Lord, they are nothing to him. But yeah, us as a people, we like to view them, just so highly due to, how we've been portrayed or perceived throughout the years of our oppression in these lands. You understand? And these other nations are always, boasted and brought to such a high stature and, having such sophistication and such morals and all this, that, and blase scoop. When these people are immoral, you understand, they are vile and they should not be, looked up to or viewed as being something more than they are. So that's a big thing that, causes for us to stray away from the Lord, is us viewing these other nations so highly. So for instance, there's a lot of us that still believe in, Christianity, believe in a white Jesus and a white God, you understand, the Immaculate Conception, you understand, all that other nonsense. And due to us believing in these things, so we got to understand that when you love a God that looks like a certain group of people, a certain nation of people, you're going to ultimately love that people as well. You're going to love them just as much as you love, their God. Understand? When you end up loving this other nation's God, when you end up loving their people, what's going to happen to your love that you're supposed to have for your nation? You understand? Because it's a commandment. You understand? It's in the statutes that we're supposed to love. Our nation. You know what I'm saying? Love thy brother as they love itself. But due to us sitting there following in Christianity, which is white supremacy, you understand, loving our oppressor. We end up hating our own due to us believing in, spirituality that we learned from them disgusting Africans. You understand? It doesn't, build a bond between, the nation. So when you sit there and you believe in all these different spirits and all these different animals, just like the Africans do, you're not going to appreciate your own people. You're saying by doing so, we cause the curses to come upon us as a nation. That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So you don't have to be a goddamn psychological genius or anything like that to know that our people are absolutely destroyed in the land of America. You understand? We were destroyed back when we were first invaded by our oppressor. You understand? Even to a certain extent, we were destroyed before our oppressor invaded these lands. You understand? We had all these different curses come upon us as a people. You understand? All the rape that ravaged our communities, all the plagues that the Lord has sent against us. You understand? The famines. You understand? Just, the like Christianity, all these different things that the Lord caused to come against us as a nation, because we chose not to follow him, but instead follow in the ways of man. You understand? Follow in all these different, heathenistic views, especially knowing back then who it was that we were. And we couldn't deny it back then because we used to write and read ancient Hebrew. So you can go and you can look up, all these different artifacts found throughout the United States. You understand? Found up in Canada, found in South America of Hebrew. You understand? Written out on rock. We're gonna go to verse. We're gonna go to verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city. So just like with this COVID-19 that's going on, and how so many of us are suffering inside of our own little, towns or cities on the reservations due to the lack of supplies, due to the lack of, medicines or doctors, and just essentials that are needed during these hard times in order for us to survive and to get through, what it is that is happening to the world. I'm saying, even with that is going on, you can look at what recently happened with Gallup in New Mexico. You understand, where the mayor had sent the mayor of Gallup had sent a letter to, I believe it was the congressman or the mayor, Slacky, I don't remember which one, but of New Mexico, and basically begged for him to put into place the Riot Control Act, which essentially prohibited access to a certain area. I'm saying, makes so people can't go in unless you've got a valid reason, like you live there or you actually work there. You're saying you can't pass through it. Nobody can really leave it either unless they have a valid reason, like work. You understand? But this is truly a tactic of war used by our oppressor which has always been used, which is to essentially cut us off from any supply chain that there is that we can get our goods from. So it was always used during wars. I'm saying it's always been a tactic, and we might not view it as a tactic of war. It's just something to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And some of us may argue that, oh, well, natives are hard-headed and we're just spreading the disease even more. So we got to be restricted to certain areas, this, that, and third. You understand? But with the border town of Gallup being such an essential city for our people in order to get food or water, medicine, to get medical attention, damn, any and everything that we need in order to survive. And with our oppressor knowing that, and with that being a main way out of the Navajo Nation, that is truly cutting us off from the rest of the world more than we already were. We're already out in the boonies. We're already in the middle of nowhere with nobody knowing what the hell's going on with the Navajo Nation, with any other reservation throughout the United States. This was just another way to those of us that don't think that with what is going on with, not only the COVID-19, but with that act that was put into place. Because a lot of us don't take it seriously. Our oppressor had, the Gallup Police, the New Mexico State Police, and the National Guard out there, having checkpoints outside of Gallup to ensure that nobody can enter. Nobody can leave. To ensure that if you don't have some type of urgent business, then you got to go back to where you came from. So that's going to hurt a lot of our, homes back on the res. It's going to hurt a lot of us because we can't get proper necessities. Meanwhile, even though, they're putting all of these resources into one little city, to prevent natives from getting what it is that we need. Even though they could bring in the National Guard, bring in two different, departments of the police, but yet when you got all these different devils marching and essentially occupying, the Michigan State Capitol building. They all marched up in there with ARs and AKs and shotguns and handguns and blades. With tactical gear on, and nothing was done about these people. Trump said himself that they were very good people. He sent people that marched to a government building that does not allow firearms of any sorts, and they completely took it over. There was no actions brought against them. The U.S. government did nothing to them. But yet, when a couple of natives, the Lord's chosen people, the greatest people upon the face of this earth, just were trying to get some supplies for their families so they could survive this pandemic that has shook America. And then all of a sudden, it's a problem. All of a sudden, the National Guard can be, mobilized within a day, which that's literally all it took, was a day for the National Guard to come in, for the New Mexico State Police, for Gallup Police, and for them to set up their checkpoints to not allow natives to come in. And saying that just goes to show you who it is, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And cursed shalt thou be in the field. So we already know the reservations themselves, I'm saying, all throughout them are, I'm saying, were hit hard with COVID-19. You understand? Thousands and hundreds and dozens of cases everywhere with, I don't want to say absurd, but like, I'm going to say like a abnormal amount of deaths in the reservations as well from the infections. I'm saying, so meanwhile, we're suffering in our own lands, what's supposed to be sovereign nations, struggling to get by, and lo and behold, like we always have, we got to turn to the U.S. government for aid. And so with this, stimulus act that was put into place that was supposed to, give, I believe it was 2.2 trillion, and 8 billion of it was supposed to go towards native reservations. You understand? But natives, we still ain't seen a single penny of that 8 billion that was supposed to be used, like, in order to help us survive this pandemic that is, absolutely making, everybody go crazy out here. Understand that? And we were supposed to see at least a penny of it by, I think it was like the 25th of April, or like at the very end of April, something like that. So, which is why so many tribal governments are out here trying to sue the U.S. Treasury Department because they aren't providing us the funds, the resources that we need in order to ensure that we can survive what is to come. You understand? With that 8 billion, you understand how much food it is that we could buy to restock our reservations. You understand how much water it is that we could get, how many medical supplies. You understand how much we could update our medical facilities. You understand we could, damn near be set until it is that America opens up. Really, we could be set until America opens up. But because of our oppressors, the devil that the Bible speaks of, he ain't going to give us any type of help. You understand? No, you understand what the devils always say? No handouts. You understand? Before you know it, really, they've already been saying it. They're going to be telling natives, go get a job. You understand? Go work. Go earn that 8 billion. Knowing damn well that whatever it is that they have truly belongs to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Mm-hmm. We're going to skip to verse. Come to the reservations and essentially help bail us out and allow for us to get supplies to replenish. You see, but naturally the U.S. government is withholding it. You understand? And our stores remain empty. You understand? Not only do our stores remain empty, but we can't even go into a border. You understand? They ain't even raised the price on things, which that's something naturally that they do, but they completely restricted access. You see, and told us that we are not allowed within, 50 feet of that goddamn town. You see, that just goes to show you how destroyed our economic system is in these lands. You know what I'm saying? How it is that we can't even not even run our own stores because nothing on the and most of it is either ran by a devil, an Asian, or an East Indian. I'm saying these are the main people that be running things inside of what's supposed to be a sovereign nation. I'm saying we're so sovereign that we don't even run our own goddamn businesses, huh? So that just goes to show you how little that we truly have inside of these lands. And just because our oppressor says it's ours, just because they promoted the idea of it being ours and ours alone and nobody can impede on it. I mean, history will tell us that is simply not true. So our oppressor has always gotten a cut out of something that belongs to us. All these other nations have encroached into our own territory and gotten what is supposed to be ours, and they made it theirs. And now they're making millions off of it. And they're helping out their nation. They're building their stores. Building their stores at home, sending money back home to help out their economy. All these different things to help out their people, but yet the same ones that they get all this money from, the same ones that are making them rich, these people don't give a damn about it. So much so that no matter how much money we sat there and put inside of the U.S. economy, with all the holidays that we've spent money on, because obviously we don't own the stores to where we can go and pump billions and billions of dollars into them to build up our own communities. So we got to go to the store of one of these heathens, and we put all this money into them over years upon years, making them rich as hell. And the U.S. government can't even give us $8 billion. So they're trying to give it to corporations up in Alaska. That just goes to show you not only the hatred that these people have for us, but it shows us, how it is that they truly feel about us in actuality. Because not only will they help us in a desperate time of need, but they'll help out their own, send out thousands of dollars all across the U.S. Meanwhile, natives are getting nothing. Blacks and Hispanics checks are being put on hold. Until an undetermined date. You understand? We're going to skip down to verse 21. You second get there. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 21. It's like, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave onto thee. We already went over this a few times. Saying pestilence, it's like a plague. You're saying, you think of, for us, for instance, you think of the smallpox, saying that killed millions upon millions of us, wiping out over 90% of our population. You're saying wiped out over 90% of South America's population, up in, North America and Canada. You're saying the islands. You're saying just killed a bulk of the 12 tribes, you understand, by the millions, by the hundreds of thousands, just absolutely ravaging our numbers. And for those of us that aren't that connected with who it is that we are and what it is that has happened to us, well, frankly, if you don't care about what happened to our people, saying, think of the damn Black Plague that killed millions of devils. You understand? Spread like wildfire. Most High in Christ. It's like, you're saying, with this COVID-19 that's going on today, with how rapid it is that this disease is spreading, or virus, you could say, is spreading and has infected hundreds of thousands, you're saying, and killed, I'm saying, countless numbers of people. You're saying it's considered like a biblical plague. You're saying something that could, truly, wipe out. It could wipe out the earth if the Lord allowed it to. So that's what our oppressor likes classified as, something that could, potentially wipe out the earth, half the population, whatever numbers it is that he wants to throw out there. But especially with this COVID-19 that's going on and how it's infecting thousands of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in every state, in every community, every city, no matter where it is that we're at, this virus is, absolutely affecting our people. I know out in the Navajo Nation, which has the largest, positive cases for COVID-19, it shoots up, over 100 damn near every week. You understand, right? They were at like 1,997 last week, I think it was. But shoot, this week they're like 2,290 something. Last time I checked, with like 71 deaths, I believe. I'm saying it just keeps growing and growing. You say that number just gets larger and larger. You're saying more and more people start to freak out because they realize this virus ain't stopping. It don't matter if we sit there and turn to the U.S. government and their $8 billion, expecting for it to bail us out of these hard times that are to come to America. It don't matter if we solely listen to what it is that the government says to do. You understand? Sit there and social distance, wear PPE, which is personal protective. Personal protective equipment like gloves, masks. I've seen people wearing like goggles. It don't matter what it is that you do, you cannot escape the Lord. America is not going to beat the Most High God. They can sit there and social distance for a goddamn year if they chose to, 10 years, 20, 30. You understand? If the Lord wants this virus to stay alive and to keep spreading and to keep getting people sick, I mean, it's going to do exactly that. You see, if the Lord wants to keep punishing us, because we'd much rather follow in all these different ways than to follow after what it was that he told us to do, because then the Lord's going to keep punishing us for doing so. It's really something that is so goddamn simple that a child could get it. And children do get it. You understand? In I.S.U.P.K, we teach children to fear the Lord, to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments so that our people can come up out of this captivity that we've been in for over 400 years. Saying if a child can get it, then guess what? You can stop being so goddamn hard-headed and you can understand what it is that's expected of us as a nation. You see, our oppressor, he can't tell us what it is we're supposed to be doing as a people. You see, no matter how much we want to sit there and trust in the tribal governments, no matter who it is or whatever it is that they're doing, they can't tell us what it is we're supposed to be doing as a people. Because these tribal governments, they follow any and everything that is that our oppressor tells them to do. Our oppressor tells them, oh, y'all got to go on lockdown. You got to do social distancing. And guess what? It's exactly what's going to happen. If it's like, so a perfect example of the tribal governments not truly, being a leader of the nation of Israel. For instance, we can look at the, the Riot Control Act that was put into place in Gallup that prohibited natives from going into Gallup, from passing through it. You're saying basically, restricting natives to where it is that we can go and can't go, essentially making us stay inside of our own lands. Instead, these leaders were truly the leaders that they play to be, that they try to make us believe them to be, then there would have been, really a war that would break out. You know what I'm saying? Because that calls for war. You sit there and you cut off the supplies of a nation. You take away the food, the water, the medicine. You know what I'm saying? That is a call to arms right there. In all actuality, see, any other nation, if their food routes get blocked off, if water supplies get blocked off, medical supplies aren't able to reach the people, any other nation is going to go to war over that. You see, the same thing with the relief fund that was supposed to be coming in. Any other nation, should they at least be, putting talks into place in order to ensure that their people can get the relief that is needed. I mean, yes, certain lawyers were gathered to sue the U.S. government, but at the end of the day, these so-called governments, the tribal governments, are just going to give up. You understand? Just give up their fight for their people, for their nation, all because either the U.S. government is going to pay them off, threaten them, you understand, or just tell them to forget about it. And then this will all be brushed under the rug in, a few months after these, how they called, like killer hornets. Yeah, kind of. Once these big ass hornets start ravaging America, all that relief fund is going to be brushed under the rug. the Navajo Nation and other reservations being choked off from supplies is going to be brushed under the rug as if it never happened. It's lucky. Until you have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. So all throughout America, so no matter what reservation it is that we're in, no matter if we're in North America, Central, we're going to go to verse 28. Give you a second to get there. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 28. Slightly. We're going to skip to verse 32. Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto Slacky. Start from the top. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. So when we were first invaded by our oppressor, it's in 1492, whether it was, the Spanish, fast forward to the British, the Portuguese, the French, the Russians, all these different nations, they always made it a habit to sit there and take our children away from us. Which should definitely sound familiar, especially with the boarding schools, with CPS today, where the government can just barge in, say you're unfit to be a parent, and snatch your baby away. But with the kidnapping of our children, this has always been a tactic that our oppressor used to essentially get us to be submissive to them. You understand? To give in without a fight to their little armies that they had marched into our lands, or Sluggy, I should say, onto our lands, all in order to capture a town. So, like the scriptures say, say Esau, he's a cunning hunter, paraphrasing, of course. So these people, they would legitimately sit there and watch whatever town or city was they had their eye on. And they would watch the relationships between, parents and the child. They would see which child belonged to which set of parents. And then once they figured they've gotten enough intel, they would go in and they would snatch someone's baby away from them. And snatch someone's child and use it as ransom in order for them to get into a city, into a town, to essentially get victory over our people in any type of way, using any underhanded and disgusting tactics that it is that they could. Which it's something that they especially use today. Even back when boarding schools was first starting, and it was a real big thing. Our oppressor, would always take records of the nation of Israel. Who's living here, who's living there, what do they got? They got a wife, how many kids they got, they living with any elders, so on and so forth. So when they would sit there and come to our homes looking to snatch away our babies and to essentially march them off to their deaths, whether they physically died or whether our culture was killed that was inside of us, which happened to a lot of us. Our native tongue was stripped away from us. Our culture, our customs, all these different things that just made us, the nation that we were was taken from us, and we were given something else in the place of it. We were given English. We were given whatever customs and culture it is that, America partakes in, which primarily Christianity. They gave us all these different things while taking away this amazing thing that it was that we had as a people, not giving a damn about the outcome of it. And that's even happening today with CPS. It's happening to the children that are going missing inside of our reservations. For instance, I'm gonna use a show for an example. So it's a show called Frontier. They got Gadites in there, and they got devils, all this and that, and they show you a story of what it is that used to be done in order to get Native women to essentially submit and to give in to the culture of our oppressor. Which in the show, they would kidnap these women from their tribes. They would kill anyone they had to in order to acquire these women. And then they would start the brainwashing process in a church, by beating the woman, raping her, threatening her, doing whatever it is that they could to break her spirit. Sluggy. And then once they got this woman Europeanized, speaking good English, being Christian, willing to turn against her own and whatnot, and then they would find the highest bidder to sell her off to be a wife to one of these devils. And we all know that our oppressor loves to put some truth into all these different movies and TV shows know what I'm saying? He likes to put the truth out there in a certain type of way. Saying, but enough with that. But what is going on with our children, especially, you know what I'm saying, there are clear examples of what was happening in that show to what was happening in the boarding schools. You understand, with how they sat there and they would threaten and beat and molest and should even kill our children if they didn't sit there and submit and give in to that European way of life, just like they would do to the women. You understand? So when they sit there and come into our homes and snatch our babies from us and say we're unfit to be a parent and throw them into CPS, the same thing is being done with these children. You understand? Our babies, they're still being taught, you know, if they weren't Christian, they're still being taught Christianity. They're not being able to practice our native tongue. So it's being forgotten, not be able to practice our culture or our customs. And saying there's most definitely molestations going on inside CPS. You're saying all these different things are happening to the youth of our nation in order to break their spirits and to get them to essentially follow in the ways of America. But one thing that I definitely wanted to bring out, so which happened, I believe, like 4 days ago. I'm saying there was a sister, right? It was in the news and everything, but there was a sister who had been arrested for, you know, drug charges, and she was in prison. She was serving out her time, or Slaki jail, was serving out her time. And it came to be that the sister had fallen ill while pregnant inside of, you know, the jailing facility. Right, so they went and ran tests on her. Everything came back negative. She went back to jail. And then, you know, the sister collapsed and they rushed her to the hospital, shoved her on a respirator. And, you know, after they did all their little procedures and everything, and she was, you know, on this machine for a while, you know what I'm saying, these devils ended up cutting out this sister's baby from her womb. And shortly after the baby was born, you know, saying this sister had died from the COVID-19. Understand? But the main thing I wanted to get at was not only the, you know, how terrible that sister's death was, but as to what is going to be happening to that child that sister had birthed. You're saying that this child that is supposed to be, you know, learning who it is. You're saying learning that it is a Gadite. You're saying we're native, learn native way of life. You're saying so on and so forth. But in actuality, you're saying this baby is going to end up being put into, you know, the foster system. You understand? This baby is going to be taught all of the Christianity. You understand? It's going to be threatened and beaten and raped and so on and so forth. You know, just absolutely destroying that child's spirit. It doesn't matter what age a person is, our oppressor is always going to take advantage of them. It doesn't matter their sex, our oppressor is going to take advantage of them. They're going to do any and everything that they can in order to destroy their spirit. And I just brought that out because that's not the only child that's going to go into the foster system, because it doesn't have any, you know, relatives that want to take care of it or can take care of it, especially with the poverty that we are living in inside of America. Understand? So just like our children be going through these things today, our babies be going through it. our women definitely be going through it. I'm saying, especially with all of the, missing Native women who were sold into, the sex trade, who have been murdered and never found. You see, just like those sisters were, I don't say being groomed, they were being groomed to be wives to some devils back then. You understand? The same thing can be said about all these sisters going missing today. So, not all of them, but a good bit of them. I'm saying some are being made brainwashed wives, some are being made sex slaves, some are just being tortured and murdered. So, if we sat there and we came back to the Lord, came back to keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments that He gave to us as a nation, we wouldn't have to worry about all these women that are being tortured and raped. You understand? Being murdered. You understand? Being brainwashed to be some devil's wife. You understand? All these sisters addicted to drugs and killing themselves, committing abortions. You understand? All these brothers that are addicted to drugs and alcoholics and, homosexuals and, murderers. You know what I'm saying? It's just a long list for our people that we're doing, of all the wickedness that we're doing. But if we came back to the Lord, what He told us to do as a nation, we wouldn't have to worry about any of this. He said, not a damn thing. But because we'd much rather follow in the ways of America, follow in the ways of our oppressor, all these other nations, and simply come against the Lord, we're going to stay destroyed as a nation. Understand? But with what's going on with this COVID-19, understand? We've only got a certain period of time to come back to the Lord, come back to keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Otherwise, shoot, Lord be with you. And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand. So for a lot of us, when our babies are taken from us, our children are taken, especially back then, you understand, we would be missing, our babies so goddamn much, like any rightful parent would. And it would do nothing but bring sorrow to our hearts, just like it does today, especially with how we know that it is that our people are treated in these lands and how it is that our defenseless child will be treated in the system. You see, and treated by some individual that you don't even know. An individual that isn't even properly screened in, the CPS facilities, or if a child's put up for adoption. All this nonsense that our oppressor does. They truly don't know who these people are. And it ultimately ends badly for our children. And no matter how much we sit there and try to fight for our babies, we can take all the legal procedures and protocols back. We can, try to take matters into our own hands and just do anything that we can to make it seem like we can get them back. But ultimately, it's not our choice. They can say you're unfit to be a parent. You go out and you get a better job. You stop drinking completely. You understand? If you're on drugs, you're off of them. If you weren't on drugs, I mean, shoot, it's even better. You're saying, but our oppressor is never going to allow for us to simply get our children back just because they've simply got better slugging. They've got different plans for them. In their minds, it's better plans. But in actuality, it is hell. I actually wanted to go to let's get back to verse 23. Give you a second. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. It's lucky. And so, just like so many of us were rounded up, it's like and thrown into all these different jails and prisons in the past for simply fighting for our own. You understand? Fighting so that our nation could survive the slaughter that was to come to our people. You know what I'm saying? Fighting to protect our households, our wives, you know what I'm saying, our children. Instead, our oppressor truly don't give a damn about a fair justice system in the land of America. You understand? They never have and they never will, which is why we've always been punished no matter what it is that we do as a nation. You know what I'm saying? We end up being thrown into their prisons or their jails. You know what I'm saying? And eventually trialed for, murder and hanged, which I believe, oh man. It's like I gotta look this up real quick. But essentially, I believe it was like, I want to say, it was like 48. Slovakia. It's 38. Slovakia. Where 38 men were tried and hung to death. You understand? All for, being about their own nation. You understand? Not giving in to the ways of our oppressor. You understand? When you love your own people, you see, you're always going to be a target of America. You're always going to be targeted by America. It don't matter who you are. If you love Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you're always going to be a target, and you're always going to face some type of backlash from our oppressor, from our enemies. He's saying that's not just with those that have fought for our nation. When I say our nation, I mean Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, not the nation of America, because America is not our goddamn nation. And it doesn't only pertain to that. It's like it just pertains to so-called natives being locked up, at such large numbers for really no reason in the land of America. And when I say you're walking down the street and you are a suspect, you can be shot, beaten, or arrested, just like should actually happen. That was recently, where there were brothers going and visiting a college campus. You understand, that they had enrolled in, and they were being profiled, and eventually were arrested because they were told that they did not belong there. I'm saying these were two native brothers. I'm saying you can be arrested for little things like that, or with this COVID-19 that's going on, and you sit there and you defy that stay-at-home order, or you sit there and you try to get food and water and medicine for your malnourished family from Gallup. You know what I'm saying? Our oppressor, he's going to arrest you. So you try to resist him doing whatever order it is that he put into place, he's going to arrest you. He's going to kill you. He's going to do whatever it is that he can to ensure that natives are completely destroyed in these lands. And the only safe place for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is inside the I.S.U.P.K. under Command GEN.YAHANNA. That's the only solution for our people. It has been the only solution, and it will forever be the only solution for the nation of Israel. So it's really as simple as that. We're going to go ahead and end it there. We're going to get into the I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We, the I.S.U.P.K., start out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund. It's a free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Next holy convocation is the Lord's 51st annual Passover. It was supposed to be on April 9th, but due to the plagues that the Lord has unleashed upon the earth, it's saying it was pushed back a month with no official date. So it'll be in the month of May. I'm going to go ahead and give you the address. So it's at Westchester County Center, 198 Central Avenue, White Plains, New York. Zip code 10606. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or a war scarf. With that said, I majim, which means to stand. It's like Wapanya Hakwadum, which means turn and face the east. We're going to start out with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanau, Shabashamayim, Kwadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahau, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Ratazaika, Hayah, Aisha, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanau, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kabawathanau, Kasalakanawa, Kabawathayanau, Wala'ah, Dabayainau, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashayanau, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Slakia, Malakwath, Waha'ala, Wahataparith, La'awalamyam, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. Amen. The prayer for the Hakak, or the power, in Hebrew. Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Babakashah, Nathananawa, Hakak, La Rapa'ah, Call Makalah, will call Matawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathium, Hakak, Arakawath, Hakama'ala, Lagarshan, Bashim Yahushai, the water Aman. The prayer for the power in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. The prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wam Yaka'ala, Walahayim, Matazab Yah, Alawap Yahana, Ha'alwapium, Hazaranyum, Haquatazayanyum, Hakayayayum, Wahaquathian, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, the Waraman. Prayer for the blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the heathen that speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the heathen, and shake loose the pockets of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses, and punishment and destruction, and death to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads, Posse Comitazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space programs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airways, the cable access channels, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift death to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the terrorists. Cause them to go to and fro through the earth and destroy. Cause a terrorist to come against America and destroy them. Let America shake the hands of the terrorists. Let Yahushai, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flag and kill all the heathens that come up against us as we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all that it is the angels that have done it. cause it to be spread through the media, throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, always, so be it. Sar, which means turn. Going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel, Imam Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barak Atam, Yazmatah. Give a courtesy salute to the sisters, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Al Dun Ba Hashem Yahushai, Yazmatah. That's dismissed.